Hello, everyone, and welcome to News and Notes. This is, hold on a second. There we go. This is the last week that I'm doing this as an individual feature. We will get to that in a little bit. All right, let us touch base on some things that happened the last few days. Okay, first of all, the trade that wasn't. There was a lot of commotion amongst the fan bases for both the Thunderbirds and the Bobcats. There was a rumor going around that there was a trade that was either proposed or made, but not finalized, that would bring Jacob Schnapp to the Blue Ridge Bobcats. And boy, I mean, there was a lot of attention given this. Now, because of that going on, GM, Executive Vice President Hockey Operations, Jimmy Milliken, from the Bobcats, released a statement and said, it's just a rumor. It's not true. It's not happening. All right. So Jacob Schnapp, not going anywhere. He is not going to the Bobcats. The Bobcats are not trading someone for Schnapp. It fell through. This is what I hinted at when Sunday I talked about maybe there was a big trade to talk about, but throughout the day on Monday, all those thoughts were pretty much quashed. So, no trade. So there you go. So no trade, but big news. So kind of interesting, at least for a couple of fan bases, and Jacob Schnapp is one of the more polarizing figures in the Fed. You either love him or you hate him. So there was a lot of attention being drawn to that. All right, let's move on from that. Talk about some of the things going on with the league. The Minnesota Northern Lights released their logo, which you see on the thumbnail. I was going to make a magnet and realized I am out of the magnet backing for the team logo. So that'll have to wait. So, but hopefully I can use that in the future. So it really, really nice. You've got, of course, they released two images. Actually three. One was the word mark, which is just against a black background, and then green lettering, Minnesota Northern Lights, with the couple of stars on either side. And then you had the outline of the state of Minnesota, which looks like that's going to be a shoulder patch. Something goes on here or up here. And then there was the main moose head logo. I like it. I think it's fun. It's unique. It's a lot different from, say, the Manitoba Moose of the AHL. It's its own identity. Moose are very common in Minnesota, and that's why the moose head. So anyway, that is what things are going to apparently look like. It looks like the team colors are going to be a combination of purple and green for the colors that the Northern Lights often cast, and black and white. So I think it's going to be looking pretty spiffy. I think the logo looks great. I can't wait to see the full jersey. There is going to be something revealed when there is the game, the neutral site games that are played in Minnesota between Indiana Sentinels and Topeka Scarecrows this spring. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see what they do, whether they do a jersey reveal or what exactly is going to happen. But it's going to be something more with the brand. So look forward to that. All right. Talking about some of the questions that were raised regarding some officiating. I talked a little bit about it in the game summaries. I want to touch on a couple things here. Okay, first, there was the big question as far as what happened with the game between the Athens Rock Lobsters and the PD Ice Cats on Saturday, in which Jordan Popoff was called uh, for a double minor high sticking way after the fact of it ever happening. So let me run through this. What happened? Okay, so Popoff was penalized after a stoppage, but the stoppage was like almost a full minute after the infraction. But the referees did not see it. All right, no arm went up to signal a delayed penalty call. But there is a provision, especially in the case where something might be considered a major penalty. There is the possibility of the linesman conferring with the referees when the next stoppage of play happens and said, "Hey, I saw this. You know, you missed this, but you know it's pretty big deal. Let's take a look at it." The linesman can do that. The linesmen themselves can't call the penalty, but they can confer with the referees, and then if the referees see that there's enough evidence to support the linesman's claim, yeah, they can call a penalty. So this is how things went down. Okay, the play continued after the incident. Continued until there was another high sticking infraction on Athens Brandon Walker. Okay, yeah, so then the arm goes up, Athens touches the puck, play stops. Now, some people wondered, okay, because there is a rule written in the FPH rule book that you can't call a penalty based on video. And so what happened? Because basically, okay, Walker went to the box. Then the linesman, the referees talked about, hey, you missed this with Popoff earlier, number 25 in blue. And so then the officials went to the video review screen. The reason why they did that was not to call the penalty. It was to determine if this was going to be a minor or a major penalty. And in that case, that scenario, the video review system can be used, according to the FPHO rulebook, with penalties. So they looked at it and determined it's a penalty, yes, but it is not a major penalty. We're giving him 2 minutes. Well, it's a 4-minute high stick because apparently blood was drawn. A high stick usually is 2 minutes. If blood is drawn, then it's 4. It can become 5 if the officials deem that said infraction was flagrant or extremely dangerous. But they determined that was not the case. So that's what happened and why it happened. Okay. The linesmen did what they needed to do. The referees listened. They verified, okay, this was not a major penalty. So that's why the video board came out. So there you go. It is still a strange situation because, like I said, from the moment of Popoff committing the high sticking infraction to the time that play was stopped, was over a minute long. So there was no other stoppages of play, so things just kept going along. So that's why it seemed pretty odd. But this is what was explained to me. First of all, I had a couple of colleagues that said, well, couldn't we consider this happened? And I actually got confirmation from a league official on this. Yes, this is the case. This is why things happened and how it happened. So that question is answered. What isn't answered is why Troy Harwell from the Carolina Thunderbirds got a 1-game suspension. The only thing that we can see that took place during the game on Saturday was he and Carson Andreoli got into a fight. Both assessed 5 minutes of fighting. No additional penalties were assessed. Nothing more was said about the incident. It looked like a typical fight. Nothing out of the ordinary. And then the next day, we find out Troy Harwell is suspended. Still haven't found out why. Hopefully, we'll find out later on Wednesday on the Behind the Glass or Beyond the Glass podcast, because host Eric Swanek often does talk to Dave Jackson during the podcast and say, tell us about some of the incidents that happened. Why was so and so given the suspension in this case? What happened? How did you break it down? So hopefully we'll get some answers as far as why Harwell was assessed the suspension. Hopefully. All right. Let's see. The only last couple of things I want to talk about is the weather. Yeah, I'm not a weatherman, but I play one on Facebook or YouTube, whatever. Looks like there's going to be a pretty big storm coming through, a significant storm that's going to impact a lot of area. Now, up my way, I'm in Pennsylvania. We're looking at just snow here. If you are down in Virginia or North Carolina or Georgia or Alabama, you're looking at some significant ice, freezing rain, freezing precipitation. I know you guys aren't used to winter precipitation, but take it from me, a northerner, snow is better than ice. So there's a chance that some games could get postponed. Now, the timing of the system right now looks to be Saturday into Sunday. So Friday night's games are fine. I don't anticipate any reason to postpone any games on Friday. Saturday, that might happen, though. Some of the games that could be affected, just going by geography of where the impact of this future storm could be. Some of the games that might be affected is the Zydeco at Columbus, at the River Dragons. You got the Breakers at the Rock Lobsters. Topeka at Monroe could be depending on how far south this thing treks. If it goes farther to the south, Monroe, you could be in for a mess. If it stays a little bit farther north, might not be anything. Indiana and Port Huron. Now, this is a home-and-home series. Saturday, the game is in Port Huron. Sunday, the game is in Indiana. One or both of those games could end up getting postponed / rescheduled. It's unfortunate, but weather happens. You got to keep everybody safe. So we'll see. We'll keep you informed as we get closer to the weekend. If I hear anything, I'll let you know. So again, all of the Friday games are going to be fine. Yeah, we'll have our full slate of games on Friday. Saturday, we're going to have to wait and see. And for some teams, like for example, PD is playing up in Binghamton. They could be stuck in Binghamton for a while. The weather should be fine for the game on Saturday, but getting back home to South Carolina with a lot of icy roads, that might not happen. So all you can do is kind of go with the flow. All right, so that is that. To finish this off, I just want to say that coming up, the next thing I'm going to have here on YouTube is picks and previews, and I'm doing that on YouTube as opposed to doing it on my Facebook page through the WordPress, because that is going to become a regular feature along with a lot of other features for the new midweek show, the Fed Flash Face-Off. Okay, it's going to be a long video. It's going to be a little over an hour. We're going to have picks and previews. We'll have news and notes. Always we'll have news and notes. Stars and standings reviews, maybe interviews, some... pardon me a second. Sorry, did not want to sneeze on camera. We could have a lot of surprises for you, but the first show for this Fed Flash Face-Off is going to be Thursday, the 29th. So not this Thursday, but next Thursday. And just to kind of give you a little kind of lead into that, I'm going to do picks and previews on YouTube because that's where it's going to be from here on out. All right, so that is that. So keep a watch for that. I want to thank you all for tuning in, for watching. We're up to, 973 subscribers here on YouTube now. So getting close to the goal of 1,000. If you have not subscribed already, please do. Would appreciate that. Make sure you hit like, make sure to share, tell a friend. Also, very important, make sure to follow me on Facebook because as news happens, whether it be transactions or trades or no trades, it gets posted there. And then we talk about it here on YouTube in a little bit more detail. All right, so that's it for today. I'm Gary Ryan for the Feather League Flash. Thank you very much for joining me, and we will see you again Friday for picks and previews. Have a wonderful evening.